Hi, my name is Salim from the Math Resource Center at HEC in the Dolmeri campus. In this video, we will go over question 1, parts C and D in the Solving Linear Systems Using Matrices worksheet. The question reads, solve the following systems of equations using matrices. Let's begin with part C. First, we are going to create our matrix. To the right side of the matrix, we will have the solutions of the system. Now we are going to create 3 columns. One for x values, one for y values, and one for z values. We are going to place the x coefficients under the x values column. Y coefficients will go under the y values column, and the z coefficients will go under the z values column. This will be row 1, row 2, and row 3. To solve for x, y, and z, first we need to make these values in the corners 0. Let's begin by multiplying row 1 times -2 and adding it to row 3, which will give us a new row 3. Row 1 and row 2 will remain unchanged. -2 times 3 is -6, plus 6 is 0. -2 times 1 is -2, plus 2 is 0. -2 times -1 is 2, plus 0 is 2. And -2 times 1/4 is -1/2, plus 5/2 is 4/2, which is 2. Divide row 3 by 2 to simplify it. Now we are going to multiply row 1 times -2 and row 2 times 3. Then we are going to add them, and we will get a new row 2. Row 1 and row 3 will stay the same. So we will have 0, -5, 5, and 5/2 as row 2. Divide row 2 by 5 to simplify it. Now we are going to add row 1 and row 2 to get row 1. 3 plus 0 is 3. 1 plus -1 is 0. -1 plus 1 is 0. And 1/4 plus 1/2 is 3/4. Now we are going to multiply row 2 times -1 and add it to row 3 to get a new row 2. -1 times 0 is 0, plus 0 is 0. -1 times -1 is 1, plus 0 is 1. -1 times 1 is -1, plus 1 is 0. -1 times 1/2 is -1/2, plus 1 is positive 1/2. Now divide row 1 by 3 to simplify it. So now we can solve for x. The x coefficient is 1. So we can say that x equals 1/4. The y coefficient is also 1. So we can say that y equals 1/2. And the z coefficient is 1. So z equals 1. So the solution to the system is x equals 1/4, y equals 1/2, and z equals 1. Moving on to part D. In this case, we have 4 equations. First, we are going to create our matrix. Now we have row 1, row 2, row 3, and row 4. First, we are going to divide row 3 by 3 to make it simple. Now we are going to add row 2 and row 3, and we will get a new row 3. That way, we can eliminate row 3 since all the values will be 0. Since all the values in row 3 are 0, we can disregard this row. Now we have row 1, row 2, and row 3. We are going to multiply row 2 times -1 and add it to row 3 to get a new row 3. So -1 times 1 is -1, plus 1 is 0. -1 times -1 is 1, plus 1 is 2. -1 times -1 is 1, plus 5 is 6. And -1 times 0 is 0, plus 3 is 3. Now we are going to multiply row 2 times -2 and add it to row 1, and we will get a new row 2. And we get 0, 5, 1, and 5. Now we're going to multiply row 2 times -2 and row 3 times 5. Then we're going to add them, and we will create a new row 3. Once we do that, we get 0, 0, 28, and 5. Now we're going to add row 1 and row 2, and we will create a new row 1. 2 plus 0 is 2. 3 plus 5 is 8. -1 plus 1 is 0. And 5 plus 5 is 10. Now we are going to multiply row 2 by -28 and add it to row 3, and that will give us a new row 2. And we get 0, -140, 0, and -140. Now we're going to divide row 1 by 2 and row 2 by 140 to simplify them. Now we're going to multiply row 2 by 4 and add it to row 1, and that will give us a new row 1. And we get 1, 0, 0, and 1. Now divide row 3 by 28 to simplify it. Now we can find the values of x, y, and z. Since 1 is a coefficient of x, we can say that x equals 1. -1 is the coefficient of y, so we can say that -y equals -1, which is the same thing as saying that y equals 1. And since 1 is also the coefficient of z, we can say that z equals 5/28. So the solution to the system is x equals 1, y equals 1, and z equals 1/28. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below if you have any questions.